All right. Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, September 21st. I'm Mark Hodge, head coach at Rockwell Trading, here with your stock market update. Always covering what you need to know as we approach trading day in 15 minutes or less. Now, stocks were hammered yesterday with the S&P and NASDAQ having their worst day since May. Why the worries? Well, the story yesterday was about the China Evergrande Group on the brink of default, which is the second largest property developer in China. Now, this is a big issue, but with the actual stock down 80% this year and ratings agencies continuing to downgrade the stock, not to mention the company itself warning investors twice over the last few weeks that it could default on its debts. I wonder if this had more to do with the market looking for a reason to drop. We know September can be a rough month, and the S&P has hit record highs more than 50 times this year, spending more than 220 trading days within less than 5% of its record. So maybe we're just ready for one of those dips. And it could be that a dip like that presents some opportunities. Now let's look at the charts and see what the charts say. So I'm going to take a look at the S&P first. Let's see what happened yesterday. Let's go to a 5-minute chart. So going to a 5-minute chart, let's go ahead and reset this chart here. You see the drop. We had a situation yesterday where the overnight futures were down, dropping with the Asian markets, and then accelerating with European markets opening, falling even further ahead of the U.S. markets. And then there was a little bit of a rally into the U.S. market open, and that went nowhere. So we opened lower. We traded sideways for an hour or so, and then we sold off. Things accelerated. We're actually down about 5% for the year when we were looking at these lows. And then in the last 45 minutes of trading, we saw a bit of a rebound. Now that bit of a rebound still put the S&P down 1.7%. So it wasn't much all considered, but we were able to come off session lows. I think we were down 2.2%, maybe a little more than that when we started to see some buying. So a pretty steep sell-off. This was the same for the Dow. The Dow down 1.8%. But you see here on a daily chart, here's where the Dow found session lows and bouncing off of those session lows in the last hour of the trading day. NASDAQ, excuse me, NASDAQ, similar situation, actually leading the way lower, down 2.1%. But based on the chart, you see that it closed pretty close to its open. So the NASDAQ just getting crushed yesterday, but coming off of these lows and erasing a large part of the losses for the day, but still leading the major indices with a loss of 2.1%. So what the heck's going on today? Well, futures are pointing to a higher start. Now, we haven't erased yesterday's losses by any means, but we are pointing to a higher start. We could look at a 5-minute chart just to see what's happened overnight. And we saw that there was a drift higher in the European session. We made overnight highs. We have pulled back a little bit from those highs. So we were much higher at one point and starting to drift a little bit lower here. The E-mini S&P up 0.6%. The mini Dow up 0.7%. NASDAQ up 0.7%, dropping just a little bit, but it does look like we're going to see a positive start. And traders are going to have to figure out what's next here. Now, the Fed is the focus this week. And without some story to scare the markets, I believe that the markets were going to be rather quiet waiting for the Fed. The Fed is a big deal. And let's take a look at the economic calendar here. We see that the Fed, well, on Tuesday, which is today, nothing major on the economic calendar. And then things pick up later this week. So tomorrow, Fed starts its 2-day policy meeting today, wraps it up tomorrow. And we have the FOMC statement at 2 p.m. We also have the Fed press conference at 2:30. So the discussion around bond tapering, inflation, interest rates, that all matters to the markets. That's what traders want to know. So this could be a big day. We'll see what comes out, what the Fed does, what the Fed has to say, what Jerome Powell has to say, and how traders respond. But this is a biggie for the week. Thursday, we have our usual unemployment claims released every Thursday morning, an hour before the opening bell. And then on Friday, we do have Fed Chair Powell speaking again at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. He's, due to deliver opening remarks at an online event hosted by the Federal Reserve. So sometimes with these events, with these speaking, you might have some Q&A involved, and that's where the Fed or Fed members can go a little off script, where there can be a little more information and details released aside from just a prepared statement. So anyway, the big deal this week, Wednesday, the press conference and the Fed statement. We'll see what markets do, what traders do with that information. Looks like we're still up, but pulling back just slightly here with U.S. markets opening in about 23 minutes. Well, in the political world, there's some discussion around the Capitol and what's going on. Lawmakers are trying to pass a bill that will prevent a government shutdown and raise the debt ceiling through the end of 2022. Congress has until September 30th to fund the federal government. So that's just one other element of worry here. You have a huge developer in China potentially on the brink of collapse, creating a Lehman-esque situation, so to speak. That being considered, if the Chinese government doesn't step in, will they? Maybe, maybe not. But many analysts believe that they will. That it is a company that's too big to fail. But you never know with China. You have September historically being this rough month for trading. And typically in the second half of September, which we are in now, that is where you typically see some bigger swings and some bigger losses, if that holds true. We also have the government trying to fund the federal government and raise the debt ceiling. You have the Fed coming up this week. So just a lot of going on, a lot to focus on. Oh, not to mention, COVID and the Delta variant. So traders are trying to digest all of that. We'll see what happens today, but right now pointing to a higher start. Let's look at the VIX here. So the VIX, I talked a little more about the VIX, and I subbed for Marcus with Coffee with Marcus, and we were looking at this yesterday. The VIX yesterday. So the VIX is known as the fear index. It tracks premiums in S&P 500 options going out about 30 days. And when the VIX rises, there's more fear in the market. Options prices inflate. And you see here that the VIX closed at its highest levels since May. So a 4-month high established on the VIX, pulling back a little bit today with things quieting down, but big spike there. So options premiums were inflated and jumped, and there is a little more fear in the market. This has a tendency to snap right back down, but it doesn't mean that that's always the case, right? Here's what happened in the pandemic, and you see that there were, a few events after that where there was that volatility expansion and premium expansion and fear in the market, gauged by the VIX, which many traders refer to as the fear index. So that's up and a little bit down from yesterday's close, but still some high premiums there. Airlines. So this was interesting. I didn't realize at first what was happening. I saw United was up 1.6%. This was actually a stock that originally came up on our wheel scan early on. I was looking at possibly selling puts. And then towards the end of the day, I was thinking, what the heck? Everything's down, but United is up 1.6%. That's where it closed yesterday. And that's because airlines were able to buck the sell-off after the White House said that fully vaccinated international travelers will be allowed to travel to the U.S. So there were some restrictions with travel regarding certain areas in the world and not being able to come directly here within visiting 2 weeks of those areas. and fully vaccinated travelers are now going to be able to enter the US. I think that starts around November, but you could see that that helped United Airlines yesterday up a little bit today pre-market. We could look at American Airlines. American Airlines up 3% when everything was getting hammered yesterday. So a big, strong move there on a down day for American, up about 0.6% this morning pre-market. We could take a look at Delta Airlines. Delta also up 1.7% like UAL, up about 5 or a half a percent, 0.5% pre-market. So seeing a little movement pre-market, really kind of in line with the overall market. But yesterday, nice day on that travel news. We can take a look at coin here. So Coinbase dropping 3.5% yesterday. Now, Bitcoin was also hammered. We could take a look at that. Flat today, but there was a story around their Lend product, and this was a new product that they were looking to unveil, and they were excited about it. Other users and customers were as well, but they have dropped their plans to launch its lending product after the SEC threatened to sue the company. Coin originally knocked the SEC in its threats in a blog post on September 7th, which would have been this day here. And Coin has been dropping, maybe because of the SEC lawsuit threats, or traders realizing that that product is not going to happen because it fell under some guidelines that Coin did not think it should be falling under. But that's scrapped for now. Not really affecting Coin pre-market, but that is the story there. We can take a look at Uber, because Uber is Uber up. Pre-market up 6%. What the heck's going on with Uber? So Uber, they're on the move after raising its outlook for the third quarter. So originally the company was looking at a loss of 100 million, but now they expect adjusted earnings to fall somewhere between a loss of 25 million to a profit of 25 million. Just like me, loss. No, I don't want the 25 million loss, but I don't know, somewhere in that huge range is where things will end up. Anyway, the 25 million loss to a 25 million profit when you were looking at losing 100 million plus, that's a good thing. Traders are encouraged by this information, and Uber is jumping pre-market. Let's see here. Gas stocks are up a little bit pre-market. Yesterday they were hammered on worries of economic growth, the concerns in China. Are we seeing an economic slowdown? So like Oxy was hit with a 5% loss, up 1.4%. We could look at Chevron down 2% yesterday, up 0.9%, so a little bit higher than the overall market. We could look at ExxonMobil down 2.7% yesterday, up 1% today, so a little bit better than the overall market. Looks like gas stocks are seeing a little bit of a boost because of the rebound following yesterday's loss. So two more on the move. Enphase Energy, ENPH. This is up 1.4%. They actually received an analyst upgrade. KeyBank initiated coverage of the stock with an overweight weighting. One other, Big Lots, BIG. Nope. Well, it is BIG, but let me pick the right one on TradingView. BIG getting hit, down more than 2%. They had a downgrade by Piper Sandler. So BIG down, trading around 46.50, down over 2% there on that downgrade. So looking at futures, we're still looking at a positive start, up about 0.5% across the board. I need to pop over to our mastermind group where we are looking at trading opportunities live together today. So I'm going to see that mastermind, you mastermind members that are watching. Thank you. And we'll see you in just a second. For the rest of you, have a great rest of your day. Have a great trading day. And we'll see you back here with our stock market update. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And until tomorrow, happy trading, everybody.